There it is. We're starting the recording of the session. I'm really excited to have you all here today and actually to talk about one of the outputs of the Make project. As you may see from some of the people who have this beautiful background behind, like I have, with these great shapes and colors, there are many people that are from the Make project here. So I can only represent a tiny fraction of this global community. And I will try to best represent in a small presentation the project and why we're joining here today to talk about the MOOC. But please feel free to also tap into the knowledge and expertise from the last years of other people that have been part of this project. And at any moment as well, if I feel like, or that if you feel like I'm missing something, Make folks, please let me know and jump in and contribute to some of the things that I'm saying. I'm more than happy to share the stage with everyone here in the room. So with this, I will share my screen. Give me 1 second to make sure you're seeing my screen. Amazing. So we are here today to present the MOOC. MOOC, for the ones who don't know what a MOOC is, it's a massive open kind of learning platform. And to explain you a little bit why we're sharing this today and what kind of content you might find and what kind of experiences you might be able to join, I will give a little bit of a background story. Just for you to know, the people who also just shared their name and been part of the coordinating this today, we have this one session now at 1 o'clock with Samuel, Therese, and myself, which is going to be in English. And then later on in the afternoon, we also have a second session in French with Thomas and Julia. So we have like this in these two versions available to make sure we make this content as accessible as possible. However, just as a side note for everyone who might be resharing about the MOOC and Make in general, most of the content developed within the MOOC is going to be in English. The project is international, so you will see that the main communication language is English, but that's just a side note. Let me go ahead. So a little bit about what we're gonna cover today. I would love to introduce you Make as the project and why we're here today, and introduce you the MOOC, the learning platform that we have developed. Then Samuel will be joining me to give a little bit of a show and tell. We'll help you to join our platform to see what we've been doing. And later on, we really would like to have as well a breakout session, a breakout room, in case for the ones who are not familiar with breakout rooms, that basically just means that everyone who is online with us right now will be put into smaller digital groups, which then can serve as a little bit of a technical support for the ones who would like to join the platform, but as well as a space for you to share in a smaller group, maybe where you're from, what you're doing, why you're interested in Make and the MOOC. Many of you will already know each other, so you can maybe just check in with each other what everyone is up to. And we hope that is a great opportunity to reconnect and connect for the first time. And then lastly, we'll also have a little bit of a Q&A session. The Q&A session, of course, is a bit of the MOOC and also what to expect from the learning platform, but as well can serve as a general question space for how to collaborate, how to stay connected, and these kind of things for the future. I hope this is all clear. Please feel free as well to use the chat function on the side in case there's something popping up in the meantime, or you need something to be re-elaborated for me. I'm happy to hear from you, and all the questions that you might have might be solved throughout the session, but we will also have this dedicated section in the end to really talk about them in detail. So first of all, what is Make, or this project specifically? There's no way I could possibly explain everything what Make is, because I think for everyone, and I might be preaching to the choir here. For everyone who has been part of Make, it's become way more than a funded project on the global scale, and become actually an entry point for a community, a point of connection and friendships over the years. But to cover the more technical part of what is Make, I will go ahead to try to represent that as best as possible. So Make is a African European maker innovation ecosystem that is funded for the Horizon 2020 funding mechanism by the European Union. And it really focuses on maker spaces and digital innovation hubs. So whenever you see that term or acronym DIH within our communication, these are these digital innovation hubs that we're talking about. And we see those maker spaces and digital innovation hubs really as spaces for production that connects to the local ecosystems, to the making practices, to be able to respond to the local challenges and to the local needs that might that need to be addressed through a creative and maker approach. We really focus on that exchange between the European and African continent to share best practices from both continents with each other, and to maximize and really focus on this innovation ecosystem that can be built when we are enabling an ecosystem in which best practices are being shared. And really at the core of the project, as I already mentioned, are those maker spaces that we want to support, that we're also part of. As I mentioned prior, I'm from FabLab Barcelona, so we are a makerspace ourselves. But it's really to see how those maker spaces can maximize their impact. How can we make maker spaces financially independent and sustainable? How can we recognize maker spaces as important actors within our economy and our social settings? And there are different roles that can play as educational spaces, but also as informants for policy. And just to really understand and emphasize that importance of maker spaces in an innovation ecosystem. And yet again, this is my little bit perspective on Make in a nutshell, but there's much more to that. Some of the things we will cover in a moment, but please feel free to really dive in on our website and our communications that we have out there, or connect to Make project partners to have a fuller overview of what Make is. To show a little bit the kind of organizations that stand behind the Make project specifically. You can see here a small list of those organizations that have been part of this funded project, ranging all the way from the Internet of Production Alliance to APSOA, which Thomas and Teresa are representing, to the Center of Social Innovation in Vienna, and to Global Innovation Gathering, who I've seen as well. Sandra has joined, so there might be some other community members from that. And this approach that we've tried to implement within Make, that we are implementing with Make, is that Make is somehow a amplifier and a network of network. So each of those organizations that you can see here are not just one company or organization in one specific location, but they often connect to bigger communities that are either connected to their local ecosystem or to a global ecosystem of designers, makers, creatives, and everyone working around the field of innovation in a broader and interdisciplinary sense. So that is one of the very special features, I would say, from our project. Over the last years, we've been working really hard on focusing on producing some resources, tools, educational models that support that innovation ecosystem to grow and to nurture it. And on this slide, we try to give a little bit of an overview of those core aspects of Make and the things that we've been working on. So on the top left, you can see policy, innovation, and network building. I've seen Frida before in the group. Frida is from the FabCity Foundation. So maybe also some other colleagues are here, but if you have more questions around this, you will can maybe connect to her directly. But in the context of policy and innovation, we've really worked on different types of case studies. We developed a joint policy agenda with specific recommendations, and there's many kind of case studies and experiences from the community that have engaged with some of those resources that are also captured in a format that's called Community Voices, if I remember the name correctly. So that you can find as well on our website. Furthermore, on the top right, you can see business models and venture building. That is being led by one of our partners, for example, Green Tech. Also, other partners, of course, have contributed to this. But here we really look into the financial sustainability and the business models around makerspaces. When I mentioned before, how can you make a makerspace more resilient? That doesn't connect only to the community that they're working with, but also really on that financial sustainability. So here, everything is about venture building, creating a business model for you, but also maybe for your projects. On the further left bottom part of this slide, you can see technical innovation. That's quite broad, I would say, but really we have gone really deep into specific technical infrastructures and kind of tools or ideas that have been developed within the project. On the one side, you can find the maker passport or the map of machinery. So the map of machinery, for example, is a really amazing map that has been developed by IOP, the Internet of Production, where you can see all these kinds of machineries and tools around the globe that make production happen and specific distributed manufacturing happen. So really feel free to check this out and see where maybe the nearest other machinery or tool is close to you to make things happen. And then, of course, the core of this conversation today, capacity and skill building. So for all of these things that we've been developing, for the things that the type of resources we try to make available within the Make project, there's a lot of capacity and skill building that needs to happen around that, right? Just because of you putting out a resource, a toolkit, or an idea or a map doesn't mean that you know how to utilize that or how to make that work for you or how to adapt and apply this in your local context. So within this project and together with Thomas and other partners of this project, we really try to focus on how we build capacity within people to utilize some of those tools and guide people through some of those tools to apply them in their local context. And hence, there is this MOOC platform that has been co-developed. And this is something that we're going to show with you today, the key features of it, and the amazing things that you can learn by signing up for the platform. So the MOOC, in a nutshell, offers different types of courses that aim to empower individuals, but as well organizations or communities with very practical tools and strategies. And when strategy is a bit too big of a word, you can also see them as tactics. So smaller steps that kind of lead you towards a bigger goal. And all of these kind of courses tap into policy making, they tap into technologies, they tap into businesses, and of course, innovation in the broader sense. When developing the MOOC, and the courses we have within, we focus on learning journeys. Learning journeys is for us a way to ensure that you're not just reading an article, but actually really are part of a journey of understanding concepts and strategies and tactics in a more tangible manner. So, and that goes kind of through 3 different stages. So you will see that we've developed these resources within MOOC and that we see very much part of this adopting phase. It's very instructional. There's content developed that is being implemented within the project with community members. people learn about it. We learn through these people the kind of feedback and the kind of assessments or iterations we need to do on these resources being developed. And this helps us to make a new and iterated version of that resource that we can put online and show to all of you. And then through being able to enter the MOOC that you will be able in a minute to do so yourself, you will be able to go through a guided learning process where each course is following a week by week structure in which that will help you to adapt some of those tools and resources that have been put out by the Make project into your local context and therefore apply in an autonomous way those the skills that you have learned in your local context in a meaningful manner. You can adapt them in a way that it makes sense for you. You can iterate on them. And that hopefully leads towards learning different skills that in the end feed into building a competency in a specific field. So for example, a competency within being able to build business models, because for a business model to be built for a makerspace, that needs different types of skills. So we try to really have that approach of learning different types of skills throughout joining and following the courses that feed into gaining a competency in a specific field that might be of your interest. I wanted to highlight, or we wanted to highlight some of the MOOCs that or some of the courses that we have on our platform. You can see, we will use these as examples to kind of showcase what kind of content you can expect. So you can see here 2 examples on the left, accessing market and market dialogues, developed by IOP in collaboration and through funding mechanisms, also mentioned here on the slide that you can see. And on the right, the common policy agenda, which is really about building policies and strategy to empower maker spaces for this global and local impact that you might want to have. Just to show a little bit what are the objectives of these courses that we've developed together with the leaders of the specific resource or tool that has been developed in Make, is that, for example, for this course, a learner will gain a more or less comprehensive overview and understanding on how to engage with local markets through like a sector kind of perspective, and really understand the standard bodies, regulators, tax offices, and policymakers in a broader sense. And through the course, you will be guided through different methodologies that help you to analyze your context. So for example, what you would learn is to how to use a SWOT analysis or a pestle analysis. There will be tools for marketing and communication. There is a stakeholder engagement plan or communication plan. And there's also some techniques and how you can like position yourself within the market. These are the core elements. But again, this might seem like big words for some. Don't be afraid of them, because in the course you will also see how to apply these tools and maybe also some case studies, for example, when a tool has been applied in a specific context. And there's always some guiding a reflection kind of exercises that will also help you to understand if you understood, so to say, the concept that we're trying to introduce there. So on the right side of the slide, you can see how do the people, the learners, kind of go through the course. There's a variety of types of media that we try to use to convey some complex contexts. So we try to make it as enjoyable and fun as possible. So you don't only have to read, but engage different kind of senses when you are learning. So there are some things that you will see in video lectures, some things are written, sometimes there are hands-on activities that you can do alone or with your peers locally or even online if you want. And of course, we always try to include more readings for like deeper understanding of some of the more complex things. A similar approach for another one of our courses that we've developed, and the one that is also, for example, for me, very, very interesting is around policy making and the common policy agenda that has been developed within Make. For some people, policy making or policy in general might seem like a bit of a frightening aspect. I can share from experience for some of the makers and designers I work with. Policy making seems something very abstract and very far away, and it's not always easy to see the relationship between a makerspace, its communities, its technologies, and how that relates to policy making. But thanks to the common policy agenda developed in Make that you can also find on our website, you will see a really step-by-step guide in terms of how makerspaces play a role in policy making in general. And throughout the course, you will also be able to see how you can apply this in your local context to understand your makerspace's role, to promote sustainability, to identify some of the sustainable development goals that maybe are valuable for you and how you can contribute back to those. And similar for all of the courses that we've developed, there's always this approach of having a multimedia content approach, a connection between video lectures and interactive models that will help you to understand the context, the concepts, and how to apply them through them yourself. So without further ado, I think we've talked a lot about the potential behind Make and the MOOC platform. I would like to hand over to Samuel, who will guide us through the next few slides. Samuel, are you ready?
Yeah, Jessica, thanks for doing this so eloquently. So you've said a lot of things about the MOOC platform, and we'll be moving there in a very few minutes. So there is going to be a video guide on how we can log or get onto the platform. So let's watch this 1 minute video, and then we'll proceed from there. The audio.
Give me 1 second. If
Sure,
not, I might need to ask you to speak over the
no problem.
if that is okay. Do, do, do. Mhm. Let me see.
So I could speak over if the audio is not going to work.
Okay, please feel free to speak over it. I'm sorry, Samuel, that's my fault.
Sure, no problem. So you would enter makeafricaeu.moodlecloud.com, as you can see at the base of the presentation, in your browser, and that will take you to the MOOC platform. On the MOOC platform, at the upper right corner, you'll click the login, scroll down, and you would find create a new account. So you click on that, and you'll be required to provide some basic information. You will create a username, your password, you'd enter your email address, a confirmation of the email address, your first name, your last name, your town or city, and then the country, and then you create the account. A confirmation link will be sent to your email address. You click on that confirmation link, as you can see in the video, and you're back to the platform. So on the home button, you would find a number of courses that you can choose whichever you prefer to start with at any point in time. So let's say if you are interested in the common policy agenda, you click on that, and then at the page you'll find enroll me. You click on that and you are officially enrolled in the course that you can start at any point in time and continue it's very asynchronous. So you don't need to start and finish at one sitting. At any point in time, you can just continue. So that is how to sign up for the MOOC platform. Yeah, so I think at this time, you would want all of you to try. If you don't have an account on the MOOC platform, kindly enter makeafricaeu.moodlecloud.com that you find at the base of the video or of the slide in your browser. We want everybody to have an account before we have the breakout session, because during the breakout session, you're going to gather more like your first time experiences and any suggestions that you have to make the platform better. So yeah, before we get to the breakout session, I hope everybody gets to the platform, makeafricaeu.moodlecloud.com, sign up as it was shown in the video, then you can enroll on the course and give us your first impressions and any suggestions that you want. Thank you. So I hope everybody is trying to sign up now as we prepared for the breakout session. Thank you.
Let's take a moment for everyone to follow that link that is as well in the chat. And in the meantime, we'll prepare a breakout session where we can meet in the smaller groups, as Sam has mentioned. So we will make 4 breakout rooms now, which is happening now at this moment. And then we will come together in those breakout rooms. Sam, Therese, Julia, and myself will be, and also Thomas, will be distributed through those maker breakout rooms. So don't be shy to also ask us questions in case you have issues for signing up. We hope we will be able to support you all in the sign up to actually get right in there and see the platform features. And we were starting to collect also the questions that we can see in the chat on the side. So with these questions, we will go through in the Q&A later on. So we try to collect them in the meantime, but also feel free later in the Q&A just to raise your hand and use this function through raising your hand to share that, share your question directly. So you can see on the screen a questions and feedback title. And underneath that is a little QR code. So I could highly recommend you to use your phone just to use that QR code and very easily with, I cannot see my phone right now, but just to open that QR code on whichever browser you're using. It should use whatever browser you're using on your smartphone. And it will take a moment to charge, and I will enter myself at this moment as well. And as soon as it is charged, you will see some questions. For example, the one that you can now see on the screen. The question is, how easy was it to navigate the MOOC platform, the Make MOOC platform, and if there is anything that you would like to suggest, what would you like to suggest to make it maybe even easier or more accessible, or maybe you saw something that was missing. So feel free to use your phone, type in your answer. And in case you are still missing to enter the Slido, you don't need to log in for anything. You can simply just scan that QR code on the top left. I see there are some participants typing, so let's give each other a little bit of time to share our initial thoughts. Super. So I see that there's already some great feedback for us. Many people found it quite easy, but there might be a opportunity for us to improve the way of navigating between the lessons or inside of the lessons. So that's great feedback. Thank you very much for sharing that. It's very user-friendly and easy to access. That's amazing. That's great to hear, especially because we really try to adapt the format towards making it as easily to access as possible. So it's great that it's working for many of you. Amazing. Okay, so there's definitely something that we can improve maybe in terms of the course overview structures and which ones you are enrolled to and which are not yet enrolled to. So that is also really good to know that that might be need to be a bit clearer. Not sure if this is something that is hosted by the hosting platform or something we can improve, but it's something definitely we can look into and see how to make it a bit clearer. There's also a question about the discussion forums. That's a great point. I think especially in terms of sharing in between each other and being able to share maybe about more case studies or examples or questions in terms of the content. That's a great suggestion as well. So I leave that one, two participants still typing a moment to um amazing. Okay, so before we go ahead for the next question that we have, I will try to answer that one question that is here. You're struggling a little with the context. I've never heard about a MOOC. How to find it, guided learning, or is it meant to be used in groups or learning individually? That's a really good question, actually. Thank you so much for bringing this up. MOOC is not something that everyone is familiar to. A MOOC is really the idea of a massive online course that is happening. So something that anyone can access at any moment. Oftentimes these happen synchronously, meaning that the MOOC is open in a specific duration of time, let's say from January to March, and you join in a moment where many, many people join. This is this idea of massive. However, we try to not make this depending on times, as everyone has their own timing, their own capacity to join maybe during work or not during work. So we try to opt for a asynchronous option. That means that this learning platform is there for you to join at any moment as an individual. You can follow your own pace in going through the different weeks and courses. But of course, there's no limitation in terms of how many people you are. If you're, for example, part of a makerspace, that is when you have 10 people, part of that makerspace, you're more than welcome to all join together or enroll as individuals and follow the course structure together. So I hope that helps a little bit with understanding that. I see a lot of more great suggestions here in terms of being able to enroll anonymously and similar. So thank you so all for sharing that. And with that, we will take this back to the team who has developed the platform and the content together with the rest of the Make project, and we'll try to improve as much as possible. Some of these suggestions you made, they're super, super helpful. Thank you so much. So to move to the next question. Wait a second. So, um, the question is, are the resources, videos, readings, materials clear and helpful for understanding the content? And if not, um, what kind of additional content or courses would you like to propose? So I see that someone didn't have yet the chance to actually go through all the content. That's a very good and fair enough answer to give. Maybe the few minutes in the breakout room wasn't enough time to actually fully see the content. So definitely something we can maybe come back to in the future. There is the first video I clicked did not work. Person who has shared that, it would be amazing if you could share in our chat which video that was, maybe if you want. And of course, we will check that out to make sure um, to address that and make sure that all of our videos are working. And maybe just in the sake of time, and also because actually people didn't have that much time to really delve into the content that much during our short breakout sessions, we'll just move to the last question that we have for you all. Yeah, I see, Ricardo. Thank you so much for mentioning this. I see that in the comments. There was very few time to navigate the platform to answer maybe some of these questions. I completely understand that. Fair enough. I think we definitely, each of the people who enrolled maybe needs a little bit more time to really dive through. And maybe in the future we can come back to this in a few weeks and actually ask another time and be like able to reflect on that together. Then the last question we had before we can open a short Q&A session is, what recommendations do you have for improving the platform's accessibility or inclusivity for a global audience? I see already some really good feedback here. For example, that it seems to be very easy and easily navigatable and understandable, even for people who are not tech savvy or English speaking. I think that's a really good feedback for us. I think it's often a challenge for people who are from a very techy background to make things not so techy. So while we obviously try to continue to improve that, it's good that the first impression seems quite good. There's also a comment around Markdown. That's actually a really good insight. I don't know if this has been discussed yet within the project scope, but the intent for translation and localization, it's definitely a huge opportunity to make things more accessible for different languages. So that's a really, really good feedback. Amazing. And then there's also this topic about adding the links to the external video location in case the video inside doesn't play. That's really good. That's definitely something that we can easily implement, I think, within the MOOC. It would be great to have some templates where applicable and to use the link to open source content provided by others on the same topic. Okay, that's really, really good. I think we have some templates accessible, so let's see if we can highlight them a little bit more and share the entire Moodle as for download, so anyone can run it locally via Moodle Docker. Ah, that's actually really interesting feedback as well. That's also good to know. Amazing. So thank you so much for sharing all of these really, really insightful feedbacks. We'll definitely take a look at each of them as the group that has developed this MOOC to make sure that we can address as much as possible from those questions. And I see that there's already some general questions that come up as answers for this question. So maybe we'll close the Slido for a moment and we'll actually take the opportunity to switch to this one, because there are some generic questions that actually don't address so much the technicalities of the platform itself. So if you could switch the Slido, meaning not use the previous Slido anymore, but this QR code that we're sharing at this moment. Then you can type in actually just more generic questions that you had. There was before a question that I saw in the chat that was around licenses. I don't know, Thomas or Sam, if you know the specific licenses behind the individual content, or generally speaking, that the license that we have for the Moodle, and if a license exists, what type of license that is. Thomas, do you have any insights around that?
Yeah, I'm not sure about what is the question exactly.
I think it's about if the content is open source or not, for example. So if content can be reproduced and if there is license on specific content and who needs to be credited, let's say it like this.
So basically, the big project we are advocating for open license. It means that the courses we are putting on the platform is they are supposed to be Creative Commons on the Creative Commons, so shareable and usable by anyone. So, but as you will move forward, you will see that we have the possibility to host some courses from different projects. And it depends of each project hosting the courses in the platform. But we at the MAKE, we will always advocate for open license.
Super. Thank you so much. Also, I saw that Andrew has answered that as well. So, for example, the content from the Innovative Manufacturing in Africa project, so the one that I've also shared as a highlight prior, is under the Creative Commons CC BY license. So to understand, in case you're not familiar with the Creative Commons licenses, you can check out Creative Commons, I think .org is it called? I'm not 100% sure. That explains all the different types of Creative Commons licenses. Okay, so I see a comment here about might make sense to trial a SPOC, small private online course with more interaction between students, professionals, synchronous and asynchronous, using the same content. That is a really nice actually approach as well. I haven't heard about this acronym before, SPOC, so that's also great to be introduced to new concepts. I see as well a comment from Sandra on the side mentioning it would be great to share the licenses of each of the courses. I think that's also really good feedback. I think Thomas and I are making notes about all of the feedback we're getting. I see him nodding, so yes.
Yep.
So exactly. So that's a really good feedback for something that we can introduce. Amazing. Thomas, please, you wanted to say something.
No. So I really enjoy also the feedback we are receiving, and this is the purpose of this webinar. So receiving all these questions and feedback will help us improve the platform.
Super, amazing. Yeah, I'm really happy about as well. I see Rafael is sharing that some of the in some of the contents there's the video is not working or the content is not available. That could be because maybe some of the courses are not 100% finished yet, maybe. So I will definitely take a look at that. Maybe you've entered one of the courses that should have been mentioned as a work in progress and therefore is not has not all the content yet inside. So that might be something, Rafael, that we will check out and make sure that this is very soon up to date and available for everyone. So thanks for spotting that.
I think Felipe's hand was up. He wanted to ask a question.
Yes, exactly. Thanks, Sam.
Yeah, okay. Just wanted to make a comment. I also find interesting the idea of Spock, and for and I imagine in future developments of this kind of platform. I think one thing is to imagine that potential people who want to learn would access the contents on their own, but also to think of how to use a platform like this to leverage and empower local educators who want to use the contents for their own classes, for their own in-person or other arrangements with students in different contexts, and that may be a way to address this need or this desire to work with global audiences. As the comment that I made also in one of these platforms now, I don't even remember where, is that I don't think thinking of a global audience is as relevant as it is to think of diverse and multiple and completely different local audiences that would make use of the contents.
Yeah, no, it's a really good comment, Felipe, and I think there's the plurality of understanding concepts in right away, because I think for us, global means that many different people might want to adapt that content for their local audiences, and you point out exactly that. So thank you so much for sharing that, your perspective on that as well. So again, I can just emphasize what Thomas has said prior. Thank you so much for sharing your insights. If you want, we could maybe just share a last short slide as a little bit of a point for action before we close the session. Really highly recommend you to check out the MOOC in more detail, go through the courses, let us know what is working, what is not working. There should be the general info@make email, I think, address in case there's something specifically you want to share with us and let us know. Then also feel free to connect to the Africa Makerspaces community. I saw before Joseph as well, but there's also many other community members here online. So I know that there's a WhatsApp group, but maybe one of these people want to just share really quickly how to best connect in case someone is new to that community and wants to connect. Joseph, are you there? No.
Yes, I'm
Yes.
here.
Yes, amazing. Can you share how to connect to the community that you're so carefully taking care of?
Yeah, so it's quite easy. The entity is under registration and will be done hopefully early this year, even this month or next month. So if you want to be part of it, just either you connect with any of the Make partners. Andrew Lam is also on the page. You can get in touch with Andrew Lam. We have a WhatsApp page that we share information on other activities relating to makerspaces and innovation. So anything, if you want to make partners, will get you connected. Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph. So yeah, definitely head over to Joseph or Andrew to check that out and stay connected to that community. And of course, follow us on social media, which you can see the tagline here. And with that, I think we can stop sharing the screen. A big thank you for all of you. Thank you for joining so richly. You can see a little bit of a wrap up again of the people that have introduced themselves at the beginning of this session. You see Thomas, Therese, Samuel, Julia, and myself, who have been really hard working on making the MOOC platform work and putting out amazing content that has been developed by the Make Africa project. And of course, there's many more things to improve and add on in the future. And we're also very open to add content from you all that might be developed in the future. So please feel free to reach out to us in case you want to add more things and you see opportunities for more content. So big thank you as well for this amazing team that we've been working with together. Thomas, Sam, Therese, Julia. It was really nice these last weeks to be so intensely meeting every week. That was really fruitful, and I think we've really been able to put something nicely together. And with that, a warm applause to all of us 43 people in this digital space. And thank you very much. And we'll wrap up the session here.